Hi everyone. Today we're going to see automation of AWS with Python Boto3. So what do we learn in this course? So what is Boto3 and how to set it up, and what are different important concepts of Boto3 and use cases of Boto3 with an example Python script. So directly let's go to the demo. So as a prerequisite, how to set up. So let's see what is Boto3 actually. Boto3 is like Python SDK. It is built on Boto core module. So it is an easy makes easy to interact with AWS services and automate many manual scripts by using Python scripts. It supports both Python 2 and Python 3. The main use case comes not only in automating manual tasks but also to collect data and do data analysis on data collected using Boto3, and also react to events by using AWS services like Lambda, CloudWatch events, CloudWatch alarms, SNS, S3 notification, etc. Let's go to the use cases later, but let's first set up the Boto3. So set up first. Let's create an instance and install Boto3. Pip install Boto3, and there is a need to upgrade it also because some features may not be available in old versions of Boto3. So it's better to upgrade to the latest version of Boto3. So these are the commands to upgrade, and we can access to the AWS services. Basically, the main advantage comes. Basically, main definition of Boto3 is to access the AWS resources using Python. So that access permissions can be given by using IAM role, which is a good method in terms of security. And also we can use IAM users access key secret key also. I will explain how the permissions in detail, but let's set up all these things and let's actually go to the demo first so that we will go one by one later. So let's open AWS console. So this is our AWS console. Let's launch one instance. So I'm selecting normal instance. Uh, I will give the details more. I mean, all of you know, I'm assuming that all of you know how to create an instance. But for is our testing, I won't be going to use much of the configurations of instance. So let's normally launch with the default settings, and let's launch the instance. So I'm launching the instance. So in the okay, this is the instance created. Uh, so during its creation, let's create IAM roles also. IAM role to give permissions. IAM search for IAM, and you will get the IAM and open it. So this is IAM. Okay, it's refreshing. So IAM role basically gives the permission for the EC2 instances to access other AWS services. Basically, in automation, what we'll do, we'll collect the data from different services, or like to um, create or to update, to modify according to our governance, or to automate creation of few things, to automate addition of few things. Those things we can do. Mostly for creation, only for particular creation you can use Terraform, but Python is generally used for automation, for maintaining governance or security, or to um, trigger based, event based, or to collect the data, these things. So let's create IAM role. So this is the safest method compared to uh, okay IAM user. So I am selecting EC2 service because I am using a EC2 instance. I will show you how to use Lambda also for running Boto3 scripts. In that case, we need to create role in this step, in the previous step, you need to create using Lambda. But now I am first, let's see how to use EC2, then Lambda, because Lambda is used for event driven things architecture. It is very important. Lambda plays an important role because it can be triggered by many services, and it can trigger or it can act upon all services of AWS. So that's why automation or scripting of Python, particularly Boto3 in Lambda, is very important. So let's attach an administrator access. So next view, I will give the role name as is to Boto3 role. You can name anything. Let's create role. After role is created, let's go to the instance. So you can see the instance already created, and in the actions, in the networking, oh no, in the security, there is an option to modify role. So no, at present no IAM role is attached. You can attach IAM role so that our instance get permissions to access other AWS resources. So let's go for the directory. Let's connect to the instance first, and let's go do the demo. So this is the instance, public IP. So you know the ssh command, ssh -i, ssh -i, instance prepared name, ec2 user at the rate, so instance, I logged into this instance. Okay, let's see Python version here. So default instance have Python 2.7. You can see the IP also 172.31.2630, the same instance, 172.31.26.30. So this is the default version given by AWS instance. Let's check Python 3 is present or not. Python 3 is not present. So we can do install Python 3 for running our scripts, or for this course I will be using Python 2.7 only, because I want to give the introduction and like more about focus on Boto3. So I'm giving the Python 2.7 using Python 2.7 version only. Boto3 can you support both Python 2 and Python 3. So now let's install Python pip Boto3. So the command is pip install Boto3 for Python 2. Pip sudo pip install Boto3. Okay, pip command is also not there. So in that case, we need to install pip. So install Python pip. So let's install. Let's add this command code documentation. So now pip install. Okay. Then install our Boto3. So we will install Boto3. To check Boto3 whether it is installed or not, just Python. This is the terminal. Just used for testing few small operations. If you don't know for loop or anything, for Python you can get this and you can test here by writing Python. So here I just try to import Boto3. Since it is imported successfully, it is been installed. So let's see the Boto3 version. This is the command for seeing the version. It is 1.17.51. It is latest only. So it's okay. You can run this command also for if for upgrade purpose. Oh, it's not pip3, it's pip install. Sorry, it's slow. I need to run it as sudo root user. Okay, it is Python 2.7. That's why it is doing error. Since it is Python 2.7, it is not accepting. Anyway, it will work for Python 3.7. Anyway, our Boto3 is of latest version, which is installed, which we currently installed. So it is of it's okay. Now let's go to the next what do we learn? Is the detail what do we learn? So basically how to make connection to AWS using Boto3. This is by session we will make. Important, I will explain more. Different AWS services. This is by using client and resource things we can make, or resource topics we can make. Different concepts I will explain. Use cases I will explain. Different ways also I will explain. So these are the concepts I am telling you to explain. Let's go directly jump into these concepts because we don't have time. So session. What is session? Session is used to make connection to AWS. So basically, when we attach IAM role or keep the keys in a default configuration, which I will tell later. But when we basically attach a role to the instance and uh, we call our scripts like this, Boto3.resource, we can create the resources and clients for particular services directly uh, using the default sessions. Basically, this will be default sessions occur when we use IAM role. Session is nothing but opening of AWS console. So it's like if we click on it, this is the AWS console, right? So when we create a session, this is what will happen. I mean, you can look into it. It opens AWS console, and the client and resources are nothing but accessing particular service. So session you can assume like this: AWS, just AWS EC2, sorry, AWS um, connection to AWS console, opening AWS console. I will so visualize it, but it's not actual, but it can be visualized. Uh, may not be. So when we go into the particular service like EC2 or anything, this is done by, you can see, you look it as a client and resource by creating client and resources, and those client and resources have further methods like list instances, list um, uh, list keys, or delete instances, stop instances. These are the methods on resource objects. Okay, session, first session, opening AWS console, then go to the EC2 thing, EC2 resource, sorry, EC2 service, that is like creating resource or client. Then uh, on the resource and client objects, there are different methods for which we can correspond, which we correspond to reading, listing, deleting, stopping, starting, these things. Okay, that is the concept. Now it can be made by default session, custom session. So when we use role, we can use a default session. So I just want to do this session to tell you what are the basic methods here. Let me clear my screen so it's visible. So what I will do is uh, uh, just I want to show you the session. So basically, let me create one script. Uh, uh, Boto3.py. Make it Boto3.py. And I am importing Boto. This is how you make Python script, right? Boto3, right? And or I will show you directly. It will be clear. Python 3. For session wise, I will show, and later I will include in a script. So let me create one session. This is session. I'm creating session object. Boto3 dot session. Sorry, no session. Boto3 dot session. You can import, but also you can. So the issue we found, actually I found it due to uh, the file name. Basically, the file name we created here is Boto3. So whenever we are importing it, it is assuming, I mean, it is taking the details from this file. So let me clear it, and let me. So I just cleared the screen and changed the file name. So now the file name is Python script.py. So now we won't be having any problem. So in the Python script.py, we execute, then if we execute Python and import Boto3 and make one session object, Boto3 dot session, it is not giving problem. So let's see what is the methods present in session object. So session is like a, as I said before, it is like a link to, it is opening AWS console. So what are the methods available in a session object? If you see, basically this in Python will give the methods and attributes available for in that object. So these are the client we can create, client we can get available regions, get available resources, get available services, and resource we can make. So this is about session, and these are the things we can make. And default session, as I said, Boto3 directory in the documentation. If let's open our documentation. So as you know, Uh, Let me open Python or search for Python documentation. The first link you will be getting is one for 1.17.54 is the latest version Python documentation. If you open it, you can see this. So you can click on available resources. So you can get all the available resources like EC2 or AWS. So it contains lot of information in one place. That's why sometimes it will give uh, load it for it to load it will take some time. So in this documentation, most of them in the examples they will refer to Boto3 dot. I mean they are assuming default session. So you can create without any since we attached role IAM role to the instance, we can directly create client using directly Boto3 dot uh, like this. You can create a client. You need to specify region also, region name. I will explain more about client and resources, but this is how you can create client also. Since this is working because we attached IAM import, so this is how direct when we do this, it is creating a default session behind the screen. Session behind the screen. This is not a default session. Okay, let's continue to see what are the what is a client, what is resource, and different types of concepts like meta collections, waiters, paginators. Let's see. So these things we will be seeing. So let's see the resources and clients, how to create them. So this is the Boto3 documentation. These are the available resources services. So mostly in this lecture, I will concentrate on EC2. Since we already created EC2 and we know the EC2 service, so let me search for EC2. So if I click on EC2, these are the possible things we can make out of EC2 service. So we can make a client, we can make a pagenet, we can use pagenet as waiter service resource. First let us see the resources. So what are the resources? Resources, as I previously mentioned, uh, resources provide a high level object oriented interface to AWS. Means like I, it is better if I show the demo and about the client also. Client will be a low level interface to AWS. So let me go through fast demo so that we can clear. I will be doing the comparison between the resources and client side by side so that it will be very clear to you. Resources and clients. So let me connect to the instance again. So let's see the EC2 resources. So the code is given as import Boto3. This is a default session as I said previously. So let's create one file. Let's clear. So let's remove the existing files and let's create one script file. Okay. So what I'm doing is just I'm importing Boto3. then I am making a session object which I have already previously mentioned. So let me make one session object Boto3 dot session. From the session object I am making the EC2 client. Sorry, EC2 resource, as we are talking about resource. So EC2 resource, the session object dot resource, and this is the syntax. We can give service name equal to, or directly we can give EC2 like this, and we need to give region name. If we configure region name initially, then we no need to give, but if not configured, we need to give here. So this is a resource object created. So just for understanding, let's print the available methods in sessions, available methods in clients, available methods in resources, sorry, resource object. This is the resource object I have created. So let's print this available methods present in for understanding. So let's execute this code. So you can see for so these are the available methods present in our session object, which already discussed, and these are the resource object methods. We can make any of the resource method, and we can make the actions on it. So first thing I just want to tell you is the basic difference between resource and client, and where the resources and clients are usable. Resources provide a high level of object oriented to AWS. So objects are written as response, which can further drill down. That I will explain. Resources is available only for few AWS services, whereas client it is available for all AWS resources, and every action which is possible via console can be done by client. So you have a doubt like we can directly use client in that sense, but resources, why they are created and they are useful, because they give us a high level object oriented interface. Like they will give written as an object, so we can further drill down the object, so that we will get the results responses easily. We no need to traverse the entire data Python dictionary. In case of client, we need to traverse the entire Python dictionary, whereas in resources, we directly use the methods in the objects to get the responses directly. So first let's see this point, then we will explain. I will explain the exact difference between the client and resources. Let me make one client object also, so that I will explain it together. So how to make client object? So let me copy it, because the time is not is there. So let me, so EC2 client I am making, session dot client. This is the format, and EC2 client. And in the same parallel, I will explain what are the available, what are the available resources. Basically, in the session object, if you have observed, there is a one method get available services. So I will call it to get available services. Services. And these are only the resources. So get available. Get available resources. So these are all the only AWS service which are supported by resources. So I will give that point information also, and I will continue for further discussion. So see, so this is all response of client basically. A client give so many this low level API, so it will give so much information, so many methods. So these are the, if you see, these are the cloud cloud. These are the AWS services which are supported as a resources. So using resource object, we can deal with only these AWS services. This is the main point to note. So okay, after explaining that, let me comment this. So let's see the resources, how to initiate, I mean, how to get the details using resources and how to get the details using client, so that we will get the comparison and things. So let's go to, like, for example, EC2. We know that EC2 is EC2 instance. So this is the EC2 service where there are number list the instances are present. So these are the instances, right? One instance is present, which is ID is this one, right? So let's list the instance IDs. So how to do it in Boto using Boto3 resources? Let's see. In resources, there are basically three divisions are there. What are the three divisions? These are the resource available actions. Means like for creating, deleting. For those purpose, these things are uh, used. And these are resources available sub resources. Means if you know the instance, for example, instance ID, if you know and you want to get the information of particular instances or instance, uh, these type of resources are available. Basically, this is an entirely EC2 resource. So basically, this is an EC2, right? So we went to EC2 resource. The EC2 resource. So you can get you can use these resource available actions basically for doing, creating, deleting, and these for getting the information and doing it on particular sub resources as it mentioned. These are very important collections which I will be showing an example in the next part, I mean next slide. So these are very important, like you can get the all available instances, all users, all images, all ACL, network ACLs at one go. So this is very useful in automations. First, so let's use this only. I will show in the detail explain the collections also. This is the collections instances. So instances dot all, right? So this is an iterator collections. In the collections also there are three types. Better we should not go to in that stuff. Let me make one instance. Okay. Let me do sub resource. Let's assume that I know this instance ID and I want to know its status because it is a simple example I want to show you. Just don't want to complicate the things. to show the example of between EC2 resource and EC2 client, and how to use EC2 resource also. So basically EC2 instance ID status. Just want to do that, but what it will give, instance ID object it will give. I will show you. So if I made one instance ID object using our resource, and make one object instance ID, I have already one instance. So this is my instance ID. So my aim here is to example, just I am showing what example I am showing. To get the instance status of the instance. I mean status in the sense top, top running. The status will be there, right? These will be terminated. These are the status I want to get using. First I will get using resource object, and then client object, which explains the difference between them. So time is already going fast, and also to show how to use resource and client objects. Okay, so let's go. Time is running. So this is an object, as I told before. Let me print it and it will give a clarity. Let me remain it as like that. Okay. So to remove that, you can type like this. Okay, unknown pattern, then it will you. So print instance ID. I'm printing instance ID object. Okay. So that's the Python. Let's execute the script. C2 instance. Oh, sorry. It is instance only. Basically, if you go to the documentation, it is instance only. So these are the available again. The things available for the instance. So if I directly go, if I want to, I already set the instance status, right? So instance status is it there? So let me grep the instance status. Basically, I'm using grepping. Instance ID life cycle is there, instance type is there, profile is there, spot instance code is there. Okay. Status, grep for status. Report status is there. Okay. State, state is there. State will give us the information. So here what we can do is directly if I print so state is a method, right? These are the methods available in our instance ID object. So you can see that it is giving a object as a response. So let's run that. ID does not exist. Should I not found? Let's see. They give another ID 01 something. ID, yeah, the same. Some instance ID, invalid instance ID. Why it is unique? So error can be. Let me go to the console once. Oh, I found that basically it is creating. It is in VS 2, but I have configured in VS 1. So we need to change that region name. VS 2. That's okay. That's good. Oh, sorry. The resource we are finding, right? Edit is not callable. No, it is at least an error. Edit in the sense you got this state as running. Oh, let me. You got the code and this mode. So you can get the response like this: code and the name running as instance status running. Let's see how to do it using client. So if we need to do it in a client, let's see how to do it. So let's go to the documentation once and then refer the client. So it is same process. Click on EC2. I'm directly going to home. So you will get click on client. You will get the client. So you make client and you need to check. We are describing the instance, right? So we need to check describe function. Describe EC2 instances or something. Describe instance status is there directly. Or describe instances we need to check. So if I check instance status, so this is the code basically. The response will be like this. It will give instance status. It will give list and availability only all the things. then it will give the instance state. We need an instance status. Instance state we are basically interested in. Let me modify it. This is the state I am in. So let's see how we do in terms of client. So I want to describe instance status, right? So I'm just copying this client as I already made client. But basically this instance is different. This I'm doing is different. Basically it comes when we compare it with EC2 clients, it will come as a described instances. But as I told you, I just want to show you the difference. That's why I'm taking directly the instance status that thing, instance status method. So I have EC2 client. I'm calling that method. You can see the filters. Filters name and instance IDs are there. So instance IDs will provide. Uh, and we will take the response. Uh, but if you consider in described instances, it will give a hell lot of information. But instance status at least give the less response. For instance, I will use the instance status. So this is instance status. So it is a low level API, and the two I am particularly interested in instance status. It is giving this response. Again, we need to loop it, and we need to get the information. So, but in whereas in resource, we directly call dot method, and we directly got a response. That is the main difference between resource and client. Anyway, as we are seeing about the client, so we need to parse it, right? So I will tell you one method for it to represent in clear way. So to visualize, basically what we did is we printed the response, right? So let me to visualize, basically to visualize the response, we can there are two methods which I will be telling you to use the response now is which is difficult to read parse. So there is one inbuilt Python module which you can import pprint from pprint, import pprint, and instead of print you need to write pprint, and there are different parameters you can check in the Boto3 document, not Boto3, in Python documentation. So pprint. So this is the pprint. Basically check for pprint, you will get the details. And this is the original pypy.org documentation, so you can refer. So after doing that, basically it will give clear idea to it separates basically the dictionary, so we can visualize easily. There is another method also, a small part of code I will show you. Let me comment the other part which is all not necessary to avoid any confusion. So this is the part we are using. So the part of the code which I am telling is about uh, basically there is a small function which we need to write. I will attach the link of the code basically in the video, and how to call it. Basically my converter, there is no printing, so see print json dot press default my converter. This is the basically dumping into JSON. So you guys can know this. I will explain basically it's a little Python trick. Basically the response, it will convert into the required format. If it isn't found, it will use this function to convert into the string object. So better if I explain this in Python. This code is just like different you can use. So JSON is not, I need to import it. So these are the two methods basically. Sorry, responses. So this is gives you more clear view basically. Even pprint we can get with the parameters by tricking the parameters, but this is the view. So from this we need to get this dictionary, and then we need to loop it, and then we need to get the system or the system state, right? This code, right? So let me. So what? How will we do? This is general for basically it is like a general response. That's why we need to do it generally, general client response. So that's why I'm explaining in a. So I'm explaining in clear manner. For I in, so it's already 52 minutes. For I in response. Okay, we are looping. This is gives a list. We are looping I of instance state. So this is how we will get the. So instead of parsing and doing these things in the resource, we can get it easily. That is advantage. If we print it, see you put 16 running, which response which we seen earlier. So this is how we can use the resources. Then let's go to the next lecture for next slide for. So collections, weighted some metadata. We'll do this. Let's do let's to get into the all things, but better cover one by one. Let's do the collections part. Collections, which I already told, resources contain collections. So client doesn't contain the collection, the trick of collections. To explain it in a clear manner, so let's go to the EC2 documentation where we previously seen the resource. So type for search for. Let's go to the home button. Home. I went to home button basically. Nothing more. So let's go to the service resource. The resources, as I already told you, resource available actions are there, and resource available sub resources. Sub resources means if you know the instance IDs, or if you want to perform on a particular set of instances, these are the actions available. If you want to collect all instances, if you want to collect all the things, this is the collections available in resources. So this will be seeing this. So what is like instances dot all? Let's do that. So this is available in resources, resource object. Let's comment this part. So resources, this is a resource, right? This one we want. So we have a resource, and um, resource dot, I need to, let me show first some methods. Resource dot instances dot all. So what it will return basically, that is basically it is returning a collection basically method of the resource, right? We can use this collections. uh, let's see what are the methods available in these collections. So as I already mentioned, sorry, we all so we can get the all information, we can filter the information, we can iterate the information. Basically, this method gave sorry, the resources uh, collection methods. There are certain collection methods on resource object, right? On the resource object, we have collection methods, which through which we can get the all instances information, or filter. We can filter the all instances on particular thing, or we can iterate over the response, or we can limit. I will in the documentation, as I showed, we can use the collections using this collection nothing but group of results, which we can iterate, filter, batch, process. So I will show you all functions where we can get all the things, all the instances. So it is saying spaces, report, start, stat. So let's see the documentation. It's for clarity. Creates an iterable. Basically, it is giving an iterator, right? Let me print that one so that it will be so. Okay, div is there. So let me. Basically, this is instance collection. This is giving us on iterator, which we can use for iterating. Oops. See, this is a again instance ID we are getting. Since we want to get only instance ID, so we got only ID dot ID. I want to separate it. So this is the use of connections. Let's go to the PPT forms. So this is how we can filter and batch process also. In the resources it is available, in client it is not available. Client will give all the information. So one more thing, advantage and disadvantage which we think is paginator. So I think we have covered this. So let me remove this. So waiters I will cover. Paginators also important. These are the things which are remaining. Waiters, paginators, meta. So if we talk waiters, for example, if an instance is being create we create instance, it will go to the instance pending, and then the instance will running, and if we stop, it will be pending and it will be stopped. If we terminate, it will be terminated and it will be terminated. So those basically those will take time, right? So to wait until the next action is happen, we will use waiters. Waiter is a way to block next action until particular state has been reached. So if we wait it, and if we immediately do something, if we created instance and if we immediately try to connect or do something on the instance, it will be error. So to avoid the problem, we need to use waiters. We can write our custom waiters also, or we can use the waiters here provided by Boto3 of AWS. Boto3. So paginator is nothing but in resources it is not much needed, because in the resources all the information, for example, there are 1,000 instances or 100 instances, uh, irrelevant of paging or irrelevant of any limit on the number of instances, we will be getting all the 100 instances in terms of resources, whereas in client we have issue. To overcome that issue, we need to use paginator. I will tell you the basic use case of paginator is using in DynamoDB, because in DynamoDB there will be thousands of items, hundreds of items at least minimum, but due to paging it only gives 100 items at once. To avoid it, you need to use paginator for the client. For the client, it is supported, and for resource it is not needed. That is about paginator. And there is one meta method. So meta method, what it is will do is, like, we can convert from a resource object to client object. For example, we have created resource object to uh, do some because it is providing high level object oriented responses, object oriented, and it is giving the objects as responses. We thought of using resources when we created resource object, but later we identified that that resource object is not giving information or not able to do certain functions, because it is limited, it supports limited services and actions. So later we realized that we need to use client for particular action in later stage. So we using meta method of resources, we can convert the from resource object into the client object. I will show the examples of waiters, paginators, and meta at once, and I will close this chapter, and I will attach the links to at the end of to the this video, the code and the links. So let's see. Let, so let's see about the meta. So uh, let's see about the uh, meta method of the resource. For example, I have created one resource, EC2 resource, and then I realized that this resource don't have some particular functionality. So I want to convert it to client. For example, I want to describe EC2 regions. Resource is not having that. If I see to resource is not having any describe functions of regions, or you know already that particular client is providing already the regions. So, or if you want to attach or detach some security group rules or something security groups which are not available resource, you want to convert into client. So meta is used, meta method of resource to show you exactly where is the, you might have previously noticed for but for to show you the method Python. So this is a method meta is which can be used meta. So let me convert into client and operate on some describe regions or something instance ID. As instance ID is already defined, let me do that itself. So what I will do is EC2 resource dot meta dot client is also need to be defined. So we need to define client also in that case. EC2 client, because you later realize, right? No, actually this client is not needed basically. Let us print back that what are the available methods in this object so that it will be clear for us. So format get attribute module, this one. Oh, client will be available. Sorry, no need to define the client. My bad. So here we can define dot client directly and dot some, as we previously see some responses. So some describe instance status this system. Basically let's print this. you can see the status which is already previously uh, given. So like this we can convert the, this is also not needed, sorry. So just we define resource, and from resource using meta we use the client, right? Let me run again for clarity. So see the response we are getting as previous. So this is the use of client. For two things, I want to add more, and further in further videos I will explaining about how to use lambda as a compute for running the code, because it has its advantages as mentioned before, and also how to use the exact for EC2, how to use the Boto3 commonly used methods, and for S3 DynamoDB, what are the commonly used methods. I will clearly do videos with respect to EC2 S3 Dynamo because they are commonly used. So those videos I will do later, but in this I will explain further on about collect, what are remaining. Let's revert the PPT. So waiters is done. One more point is a resource waiter waits for only 200 seconds, and the waiter which is for client waits for 600 seconds. So waiters we haven't seen the demo. So I will show you paginator meta method we covered. So for waiters and paginator, some I want to create one instance and other resources, but to explain you where's the time being completed. So waiters and paginator will create, before I will pause the video now, and I will create info. I will explain it whatever I will be creating one instance, sorry, one extra instance, EC2 instance, and one DynamoDB with some data, because most of the cases DynamoDB having thousands of items or more than 100 items will give many issues. So paginator we need to use. For explaining paginator, I will create DynamoDB, and for uh, waiters I will create one EC2 instance, but it will take some delay. So I am pausing the video. So hi everyone. So actually after pausing, I have done basically three things. One is I created this EC2 instance. I created one dummy instance. Uh, Basically dummy instance I have created. So it's just in stop state basically currently. So it's running. So let's stop it. And I also created one DynamoDB table paginator, and I populated with 2000 items. I will show you the step how I populated. So, and third thing is I just mm, I I mean I re the code we know, I just basically refactored it. So if you took a look at one each thing, this thing resource client we already discussed at starting of the lecture, where we discussed about resources and clients. Uh, so this is the code I will upload. I will give in the link also. I upload the GitHub. I will give the GitHub link. This is the meta which we already see. Import Boto3, and from resource to client we change it. So these are the scripts these two scripts we already see. The three other scripts are how I populated the DynamoDB, how to use waiters, and how to use paginator. So let's see how to use waiters first. So for waiters, what I did is basically there are Basically, three kinds we can do waiting. Using resource object, we can do wait. We can invoke wait condition. Using client, we can invoke wait condition. So using resource and client, we can use wait condition basically. So how to do it? Basically here we already know how to make session and how to make resource object, and from the resource object I made instance object, which we already seen. Basically there is one instance present which I have created. I just showed I07. So this is the instance which it is in running state. So let's stop it, because stop to start will take some time. So the wait, it is a good example to show wait condition. And stop the instance. What I will do is, so what I will do, we can from stop to start also we can do, but it is less time, so I'm doing for from stop to start. So I will start the instance using start method defined from the EC2 resource object, instance object, resource instance object, and the same from resource instance object. There is one method wait until running. There are different methods, so let's see what are the different methods available. For instance object, so get waiter is one thing. So this is get waiter. So it will stop until running status. I mean, whenever instance is started, it will be pending and then running, right? So it will start until running status. Basically, how it will do, we can do the same custom waiting also by waiting one while loop. So basically, we can check the status and we can wait for 5 seconds and again loop it. When we found the instance status is fine or particular condition is met, we can break out of the loop and we can execute the further conditions. This is how we do in custom iterations. But here, wait until running, what it will do, it will do the same thing. It will resource wait will make basically 40 iterations for every 5 seconds, total corresponding to 200 seconds. So this wait until running define on resource instance object will wait for 200 seconds, whereas same thing we wait for using client. This is a client. Using get waiter, we will wait the same thing which we are resourcing. I will show you. Here it will be around 600 seconds, 40 iterations in the interval of 15 seconds, total corresponding to 600 seconds. So let's see how it works. So if you go see the instance status, it is stop state. So let me execute the code. See, there is a wait conditions on the resource instance object. Wait until running, wait until stopped, wait until terminated. You can use these wait conditions. Wait until it is. So it is pending. You can see it started. Now it is running. Now it should be out of the loop. So instance is running, so it came out. So this is how waiters work. We can define the same waiters. Since time is running fast, I will explain you fastly. We can do the same thing using a client. Right. So here client, what we are doing, we are starting the instance. This is client action. This is client waiter. If you see the waiter, using client directly, we are doing get waiter and instance running. So because the client is a low level API, here it is a little higher level, high, I mean object oriented high level API. So high level resource objects it will give. So we define, uh, we are calling it as a method wait until running. Here we use the same but get waiter, and this parameter we will define. We can refer Boto3 documentation also for it. So for if we see the Boto3 documentation, so control F EC2, search for EC2, go to EC2. The EC2 waiters will be there. So waiters. So it will do the same thing. Basically instance running. I will show you example also. This is how we wait. So after this, I will show you the paginator. I'll quickly go show you the paginator. Let me stop this again. So EC2 waiter, these are the instance running. We are doing this, right? Instance running. So it is using client. So the previous one is resource, which I already showed. This is client. So get waiter instance running. This is how we define. And in the filters, we can give instance IDs, which I already given. So let's execute the script. Starting, we go to the instances. It is starting. So this is how waiters work. It started. So this is about waiters. Let's let me go to the paginator. Before that, I told you, right, I created one DynamoDB table and paginated it. So how I then populated it? This is how. Basically, I created one session, which we already know, and I created one DynamoDB resource, and uh, this is the table name. Using this, I created one object, and basically I'm putting the item. This is the put item basically. This is the primary key I have defined. So basically I'm looping over 2000 times, and I'm putting just that item 2000 1 2 3 4 like that, and just put item call I'm doing. This is how I populated the DynamoDB. So this is how I created the setup paginator. So basically, this is how you can scan the item. Paginator basically useful when there is a large data, or like you when you there is a 100 tables, 1,000 100 number of DynamoDB tables, 1,000 100 instances. also 100 instances, 100 number of users, 100 S3 buckets. When scanning or listing them, basically there can be possibility that all pages are, all resources not covered due to pagination issue. So better to include this paginator. So where is this paginator found? So you can go to EC2. In EC2 also you can go any client, using any client you can make this paginator, because in resources already included. We can get all the resources. Since client we can't get, so paginators are there. This is EC2 paginator. Describe list these things. I basically use DynamoDB. Search for DynamoDB. So basically I use a DynamoDB paginator. There is a scan item. So using paginator.paginet. Sorry. First I created one paginator. Let me comment this code. This is normal scan. How we do using DynamoDB client.scan. If these are less number of items or less number of data, then it is fine. But if there is more number of data, then better to use pagination. So how I did is like paginator I have defined with the client dot get paginator. I will show you directly this documentation so that it will be clear. DynamoDB client, sorry, DynamoDB. If you go to paginator, it is clearly given like how to define paginator using client. So these are the paginators available: list, tables, queries, scan. I am using this scan. So you need using client only get paginator using the scan. After get paginator, we need to paginate with tables, table name. So the same for paginator dot paginate with tables. So this will give n number of pages. We need to loop over this one by one pages. Each page can contain 100 items or 1000 items depending on the data size. For item in page item, we need to loop over the items, and basically this is how basically we can get all the items of DynamoDB without any pagination issue. This is how you to use paginator. So let me run paginator. Actually 4000 records are present. Actually 2000 I dumped with this string and 2000 I dumped without this string. So the total 4000, and initially I included one item. So total 4000 items was written. So this is how we effectively get the data without any pagination issue. This is how the paginator and waiters work. So finally, I just want to tell this AWS CLI. I mean, using keys also, I am user keys I already defined. So we can use basically create sessions and use that. How to use that is so we need to create IAM user, and if AWS CLI is not there, so you can check that by AWS version. It is AWS Amazon instance only. CLI is installed and given, so this is not there present. You can install using pip3 install AWS CLI. Then we can configure the profile name. So for example, if I configure with some username, access key, I need to when IAM user is created, you can get the access key and secret key, so you can use it. So let me show that thing also at and this lecture. for individual, for more lectures, I will create another lecture, of course. So let me create some Boto3 user test. So programmatic access and console access is there, like because we are using programmatically, so programmatic access. Attach existing policy. I'm attaching policy. Admin access. I will delete anyway this user after this course. So when we create user, it will give two things: access key, which you can paste here, and secret key. And as we are using region US West 2, JSON output you can mention or none you can mention. So after this, there are actually two files formed. I mean, in one folder is created. .aws. So credentials and config file are created. The credential files, the credentials which we are given is present, username this slide, and in the config file, the region and this are present. I'll explain. I mean, if got chance, I'll explain how to configure. I mean, this is how we configure. And when assuming role, it was like EC2 config file. We need to change a little. That I will explain later in the courses. So let's use in the code and check whether it is working as expected or not. Let's say PageMaker. Let's use this in the session Boto3 session. Instead of default session, which is using role, we will use profile name equal to our user name. Since we have given admin access to that, we should be getting see. So this is how we can call using keys also we can do, but role is an efficient method. Assume role, that also little advanced, I will cover in later. So this is the course. Hope you enjoy. Hope you learn good things. Okay, thank you.